set, and it's going to depend on what each trainer brings to the table. Abhyu going to lead Talonflame and Primarina in game 1. Len going to go ahead and lead the Golden Go and Kilowatt Troll. So already both the Tailwind setters for each trainer are in play here, but I don't think there's a reason for either player. I mean, no, I jumped myself in the gun. There's probably a reason that Abhyu can go for the Tailwind plus Hyper Voice here, which is probably safe into both of these Pokemon, but the problem for that play is that it leaves Primarina wide open to a Thunderbolt from Kilowatt, which probably won't take it, won't get a knockout, but it will do massive damage to make sure that Primarina is neutralized out of the gate. Len's going to go ahead and Terra. Before I go ahead and finish off that statement, Golden Go is going to go ahead and Terra into that Steel type in order to provide an even bigger damage boost with that Make It Rain, with that Terra Seal, and the choice specs that it's holding. Talonflame is going to go ahead and use the Tailwind. Does that mean Primarina is faster than either of these Pokemon, notably the Kilowatt Troll? It is. Hyper Voice is going to go off. And Thunderbolt going to launch into the Talonflame, gets the knockout in a single hit. That's already great damage here from Len to make sure that Talonflame can only go for that Tailwind. But not only that, it makes this Make It Rain single target, meaning Primarina also goes down in a single hit. So in that turn 1, Abhyu got Tailwind up, but that's all he did, as Hyper Voice did not KO either Pokemon. It got them both in chip range at Garchomp, but Garchomp cannot touch Kilowatt Troll, which is a big issue. Golden Go is going to be the last Pokemon as well for Abhyu, depending on whether or not it is Garchomp. It is Garchomp, that's the last Pokemon from Abhyu, so there is a weird scenario for this Garchomp. It's probably going to have to go for a Stomping Tantrum onto the Golden Go slot, but that's easily coverable by the Corviknight in the back that Len's hovering. Because a flying type cannot get touched by a ground move, and because you can't do that, it means your best option probably is to Dragon Claw the Kilowatt Troll. Because if you Dragon Claw that slot, you know that something's going down there, and then with that Golden Go as well from the Abhyu side, it's also choice specs, but who knows how Shadow Ball is definitely going to take the Golden Go down to knockout. So Len's going to have to be a little careful how he plans this turn, because he's currently at a speed disadvantage right now. So although this Golden Go's got to get out of here in the threat of Stomping Tantrum for that Corviknight, it's really just a question of what the Golden Go does here, because if it has to lock itself into Shadow Ball, for the reason that Make It Rain's not doing a whole lot of damage to any of these Pokemon, at least not in time, Dragon Claw does correctly target down the Kilowatt Troll, as it did try to pick it off while this Tailwind is still up. It is Shadow Ball being launched into this Golden Go with that choice specs. How much damage is over 50%? No Mirror Armor activates, but a Citrus Berry does activate for Corviknight. So 2 turns left to Tailwind from Abhyu, and Kilowatt just protected the last turn, so the issue is still that the Dragon Claw just goes into the Kilowatt Troll, knocks it out, or if not, you probably switch into Golden Go, take a hit, and if you do, you have to at least hope that this Corviknight is able to survive the turn, which I don't think it will based on the damage that the Shadow Ball did the first time. This Golden Go is going to be able to soak up 1 hit from this Garchomp, presuming a Dragon Claw in that slot, unless it critical hits, which it doesn't get. So Golden Go gets to survive the next turn, meaning... And then the Shadow Ball comes out into the Corviknight. And going back to what I was trying to think what it means, is that Len's trying to do is that's the damage control, because with only 1 turn left, the Tailwind, I think Len does them out, especially with that Dragon Bolt in the back, so... It very well could easily just be Kilowatt Troll coming in here, clicking Protect, to make sure that Tailwind goes away proper. Oh. Okay, never mind. I just saw the team sheet. Dragon Bolt does also have Protect, as you're going to see it in the screen. As it comes in. And so, it's just an easy Protect turn from Dragon Bolt, and then Golden Go, it can do anything, really. Like, you can quickly Make It Rain, try to knock out the Garchomp if it just play foul. You can go Shadow Ball and knock out the Golden Go in a single hit, without much worry. There's really little that Len can do here that is going to get punished by Abhyu's play here, as we're going to see Terra come out from this Garchomp on Abhyu's side into that ground Terra to potentially boost up that Stomping Tantrum or that Earthquake that Abhyu could be going for, although Earthquake is pretty much ill-advised in this scenario. Dragon Bolt going to protect to make sure that last turn of Tailwind goes away, while Dragon Bolt remains safe and sound. Dragon Claw into the Dragon Bolt, not going to work in that scenario. Golden Go does go for Shadow Ball. It's going to knock out Len's Golden Go. And that means Tailwind's gone, And Kilowatch kind of just comes in here and clicks either Tailwind, or you try to go for a Thunderbolt onto the Golden Go, but the other thing is... Oh wait, no, never mind, this is a terrible scenario for... I wouldn't say this is terrible, but it's weird because you have to be able to knock out Garchomp in a hit with something like Draco Meteor, but if you can't do that, then yeah, you're just pretty much left going for Air Slash and hoping it flinches, because Garchomp can knock out Dragapult in a hit. And it's proven that it's okay. So we can see that the Kilowatch is just faster than the Dragapult. Shadow Ball doesn't launch into this Golden Go. It gets the one-hit knockout. This Garchomp has to flinch this turn for Len to comfortably win this game. Otherwise, it's going to come down to Kilowatch versus the world, which is Kilowatch versus Garchomp in this scenario. Dragon Claw does connect. No flinches to be seen. And now it's a matter of can Air Slash flinch? Or can a critical hit, because a critical hit does knock out Garchomp from that range as well. Air Slash is all Len can do here. Another one comes out, does not knock out the Garchomp, does not get the flinch. Abhyu survives and wins game number 1 by a narrow margin. What a close opener here for Abhyu there, and it shows that even though Len was able to perfectly play around the Tailwind turn for as long as he was able to, the problem was just Kilowatch can only click Air Slash in front of that Garchomp in a one-on-one scenario. So even though Dragapult was able to take care of that Garchomp, the difficult thing was really just, do you double down on a targeting the Garchomp? Because if you're able to do that, you're able to knock it out, then at the that doesn't work the way, because the way that I talked it out in my own head, if you do that, then Shadow Ball likely lands at the Dragapult. You're ending up in the same situation. It's a different one-on-one with the Kilowatch versus the Golden Go, and then Golden Go's still at full HP. So yeah, I think that game honestly came down to flinches. So the adaptation for game number 2 here, I think for both players, I mean, Abhyu, obviously the Tailwind worked. You were able to get the damage off with all of his Pokemon, really. The Pre-Marina got key damage on the Golden Go early, as well as into the Kilowatch or breaking his Pokestats, making Garchomp's job a little easier. But again, that was so close that it came down to a couple of luck factors, and unfortunately luck never came Len's way. And so I think the adjustment for Len has to be you have to adapt into a more bulkier side, because you need to be able to find a way to outlast Tailwind, but also make sure that you're in a comfortable position to where you can mitigate the damage Abhyu is doing, because all of Abhyu's team members are capable of dishing out so much damage and pretty much unimpeded at that. And it shows in Abhyu's game 2 lead being identical to game number 1 with a Travel Flame and Pre-Marina. Len gonna sweat. Go ahead and switch it up with that Tyranitar plus Dragapult lead. So Tyranitar does threaten the Talonflame very effectively. And then this Dragapult kind of in a weird position, but I can see it going for Draco Meteor onto the Talonflame, but I don't know how much that's really going to be impactful here. Ooh, Terra Water coming out from this Pre-Marina with the boost. It's Hyper Voice damage, but key note here is that it removes its Fairy type immunity. It removes its Fairy typing, so Draco Meteor can now hit it should it survive the turn. Here's a Hyper Voice coming out from this Pre-Marina, which is going to be Mystic Water boosted, and yeah, doesn't do a whole lot of damage to the Tyranitar because it's the Sand Boost and the Assault Vest. Shadow Ball does launch onto the Pre-Marina. It does have, so that's really respectable damage from this Dragapult. Here's Rock Slide, double connects both Pokemon. Talonflame's gonna go down, Pre-Marina hangs on. And now Abhyu has speed control for the next 3 turns, meaning he's got to make them count. You know, Dragapult goes down to a half HP after the Sand Chip and the Life Orb Chip. Next up for Abhyu is Golden Go, so it should be able to click Make It Rain here. But there is the counter there from Len. That is that Grass Tyranitar, which he's going to be clicking right now. And Len's going to go ahead and click that Terra Grass in tandem to make sure that a Hyper Voice is not doing a whole lot of damage. It's going to... I mean, sure, you're still weak to Make It Rain in a sense, but Abhyu blew the Terra on the Primarina early, so you're not going to take a whole lot of damage from Specs Make It Rain from Abhyu's Golden Go. So it's going to go ahead and launch that attack onto the Tyranitar. It should be able to take this one. I'm not sure that's going to put any range at the Hyper Voice. Okay, it's definitely not range of Hyper Voice anymore, because you weren't able to do a whole lot of damage to that Tyranitar, as it was able to take the attack comfortably. There's another Hyper Voice coming out from this Primarina, which is going to be launched into the Tyranitar. Yeah, does almost nothing now to the Tyranitar. Here's Knockoff into Golden Go. It's another one-hit KO. A critical hit as well. Probably was going to go down that turn anyway, but it's good to... I don't know. Twisting my words again, I apologize. Sandshift's going to go ahead and put Primarina really low, and now it's really just a matter of can Abhyu knock out Len's Pokemon in time? Because again, he only has 2 turns left to Tailwind. A Garchomp is the last Pokemon as well. And this Primarina is 2 turns away from being knocked out. Dragon Pult, as long as it gets out of Tailwind, should be fine. Or Len's gonna be fine knocking out Dragon Pult here, losing Dragon Pult here when Abhyu's Dragon Claw and Garchomp. And that means this Hyper Voice is not going to be a single target attack onto this Primarina. No, never mind, it's Moonblast, so it's going to be a single target anyway. Down goes Tyranitar. Now we have to have a look at what Len's 2 Pokemon are in the back to handle the Primarina plus the Dragon Pult, Garchomp in the back, in the front, excuse me. It's Corviknight, Kilowattrel, so Corviknight is able to wall out this Garchomp, so... And Kilowattrel as well for Len, meaning I think Len has a clear path to victory, and that's really just going to be ignoring the Primarina to the best of his abilities. It's just going down to 1 turn left of Sand Chip. And this is also the last turn of Tailwind, so... Awesome dot there. Okay, turn played out. Here's Dragon Claw onto the Kilowattrel. Goes down to a Focus Sash, so it will go down this turn, whether it's by the Sand or by the Hyper Voice coming from Primarina. Another Life Orb chip's going to be taken. Here's Hyper Voice onto this Corviknight, and the Kilowattrel. Corviknight takes it, over half, but luckily, it's the only Hyper Voice it's got to take. Primarina's going to go down in the Sand. Corviknight's going to eat up on its Citrus Berry to get back 25% of the HP. This should be a body... Okay, it's Body Press coming out into the Garchomp, not doing a whole lot of damage. It's going to take some Rough Skin damage as well. And I think it's time for Len to start roosting, because the first time you roost... So, I want to put out the situation just for context. Roost, when healing, grounds the Corviknight, meaning its flying typing is gone for that turn. But that doesn't matter if Corviknight's slower than the Garchomp, because Garchomp can only click Dragon Claw as long as Roost is not coming first. Meaning, Garchomp's forced to use Dragon Claw. Well, that might have been a critical hit. No, that was just raw damage. I underestimate Garchomp's damage sometimes. And there's the first Roost from this Corviknight. And because it was not the first thing to move here, it's no longer going to be grounded anymore. So it should just be able to start going for countless amounts of Roosts. And then this Garchomp still is not going to be able to click Earthquake or Stomping Tantrum in front of the Corviknight, meaning Len should be able to win this game off damage recovery, because there's no way this Garchomp can break through this Corviknight. Yeah, and then here you just click Raper just to get some damage. Oh, okay. Garchomp protecting. That's actually really funny. When you're trying to scout timings here for Len, if anything. I just don't see a way Abhyu gets out of this game, because you weren't able to deal with the Corviknight in time. And now it's in a damage loop, so yeah, there you go. You just confirmed it right there. We just confirmed it, that the Stomping Tantrum doesn't work on Corviknight because it did not use Roost the previous turn. Garchomp will go down to the next attack and froze, which is going to be Dragon Claw, or it's going to have to take damage. Neither matters. We're going to a game 3, and Len did an absolutely good job at adapting to making sure the Corviknight endgame was as effective as it was. And now we get into this game 3 here. You know, the game plan for Abhyu's been the same, which is click Tailwind, get damage. And Len's answer has been effective in game number 2, which was, okay, if you're going to say Tailwind plus damage, I'll just go ahead and bring out all my damage neutralizers as I can, which were the Tyranitar and the Corviknight. And he got an offensive tool in Dragon Bolt early on, which put pressure on the talent on a lot of what Abhyu brought, because he couldn't switch in to his Pokemon safely, which were the Dragonite and the Garchomp Golden Go, excuse me. And the fact that you can just do that makes the Shadow Ball on the Primarina Bree effective, because again, you were taking chip damage as well from the Sandstorm, and Primarina got very low to a point where you knew when it was going to get knocked out, you knew how much damage it was going to have to take, and it gave Len openings to ignore anything that had low HP that could get knocked out by the Sandstorm. And so, looking back at Abhyu's team, his best way to answer the Corviknight is that Golden Go with Thunderbolt, but if that's, I mean, other than that in the Primarina, there really isn't much the rest of Abhyu's team can do, because the best you have is Flare Blitz on Talonflame, which, I'll be honest, I think it's walled by countless amounts of Roosts. And then a low kick on Dragonite / Ice Spinner, which I don't think either's going to do a whole lot of damage. Just Corviknight's somewhat heavy, but not heavy enough to warrant big damage off the low kick. And Ice Spinner is just not doing a whole lot of damage. Abhyu, once again, for a third game in a row, going to go ahead and lead the Talonflame plus Primarina. Len's going to go ahead and lead the Tyranitar and Corviknight for game 3. So once again, the sand is up. We know Tyranitar can take at least one Hyper Voice with Terra Water and Mystic Water. And this Corviknight in a weird spot, but it's acceptable in this case, because it's not going to take a whole lot of damage from Flare Blitz on Talonflame. It took a lot from Terra Water, Mystic Water, Hyper Voice, but this just also could just be a Brave Bird into the Primarina, and therefore you're putting it much lower for your other Pokemon to make it easy to knock it out, as we see yet another terrestrialization of water into the Primarina to boost its damage once again. Tailwind for a third turn 1 in a row gets set for Abhyu, so speed advantage to Abhyu. Here is the Hyper Voice coming out from Primarina. We know it doesn't knock out the Tyranitar in a single hit, but Corviknight takes a hefty amount of damage once again. Rock Slide, we know one-hit KOs Talonflame almost every single time. And Corviknight matches Tailwind, so no longer does Abhyu have a speed advantage. It is now a speed equalizer. And Primarina going to take it pretty comfortably in front of those Rock Slides. And Talonflame, unfortunately, does not like taking Rock Slides. So now that the speeds have been equalized, as Golden Go comes out from Abhyu for a third game in a row, that warrants a Terra Grass as well from Len, because you saw that Make It Rain did negligible damage at best against Tyranitar without super effective damage, and that Assault Vest that it's carrying. Corviknight easily takes one, but it won't take a Thunderbolt, so Abhyu has really just left the choice of, do I knock out the Corviknight, do I focus the Tyranitar? Do I protect the Primarina? Oh, yeah, do you protect the Primarina to make sure it doesn't get picked off by the sand eventually later down the line? Or potentially you just go for that Shadow Ball into that Tyranitar just to get the most damage possible? And it's not doing a whole lot. There's the Roost coming out, which rounds it, but unfortunately because Golden Go went first, it's not really going to matter a whole lot, but it ultimately won't matter because it didn't click Thunderbolt at all with that Choice Specs lock that it bared under. Moonblast does not knock out the Tyranitar. Tyranitar is now going to launch that Terra Blast Grass, and it knocks out the Primarina. And now Abhyu's down to his last two Pokemon in front of this Tyranitar and Corviknight. Now that Corviknight's back at full HP and only having to worry about Shadow Ball, Len can just play this to a point of where, because the speeds are equal from the Tailwind turn 1 on both Corviknight and Talonflame on each side, Dragapult now looks like a perfect endgame Pokemon against both of those Pokemon because Golden Go cannot survive a Shadow Ball, Garchomp cannot survive a Dragon Meteor, and this Corviknight kind of has free reign to do what it chooses here. Dragon Claw is going to knock out the Tyranitar, which Len's perfectly fine with because Tyranitar did all it had to do, which was set up the Sandstorm, survive hits, click Rock Slide, and Terra Blast Grass to get rid of Abhyu's key supports and key threats of that Primarina. Here's the Golden Go launching a Shadow Ball onto this Corviknight. So much damage once again, and another Roost that's clicked. So, yeah. It goes back to a perfect health point where this Golden Go needs to get a critical hit to knock out the Dragapult, but the Corviknight, excuse me, but in comes Dragapult from Len's side of the field, and it can just comfortably click Shadow Ball onto the Golden Go. There's no Terra to worry about. This Garchomp maybe goes for Dragon Claw, but at the same time, you only have to knock out the Golden Go because if you knock out the Golden Go, you're left with this 8 ending scenario as game number 2. It gets knocked out, and now Garchomp has to worry about that Corviknight. Yes, you can knock out the Dragapult, but what good does that do you if Corviknight's just going to stay there in the field and click Roost and Braybird in front of you for countless amount of turns? You never get to knock out the Corviknight unless you get a critical hit on several Dragon Claws. But also, you're taking damage from Life Orb. So, because Corviknight's in a perfect position to win the game and the set. Braybird takes Garchomp under half HP. He's going to take a bit of damage from Rubskin and a recoil. But I think the game is set in stone. Both Tailwinds go away. Sandstorm has one turn left. But Len's last Pokemon is not Kilowatt Troll this time. It's his own Garchomp. His specialty Garchomp. The one he's been using since so long ago. And it's going to go ahead and click Dragon Claw. Another Roost should come in from this Corviknight. And another Dragon Claw does connect onto the Garchomp. One hit KO. I don't know if that was a speed tie or not, but it could have very much well been. This Garchomp only has a limited amount of time to take out this Corviknight, but once again, the situation is set in stone. Garchomp cannot knock out Corviknight anymore, so even though Abhyu was able to focus down the rest of Len's Pokemon, he did not focus down the Corviknight quickly enough. And because of this, Garchomp now having to protect, which stalls the inevitable, unfortunately, that Len's going to win this set and advance to round number 5 of this League Cup Autumn Finale with a perfect 4-0 record. Len once again proving why he's one of the top trainers in North America and why he's a SoCal staple here. Stomping Chancha once again whipping on the flying type of the Corviknight. Another Braybird comes out. Does it knock it out? Yes, it does. Len Deuel with a 2-1 victory over Abhyu Vatsavai in round number 4. Congratulations to Len for perfectly pivoting the Corviknight 2 games in a row to put Abhyu in a position where you cannot knock out the Corviknight at all with the remaining Pokemon while I knock out the rest of your Pokemon. And that was the symphony for victory in his way to bring Sand to 4-0 in the tournament. And that is going to conclude round number 4 of our Autumn League Cup. And when we'll be right back, we'll be back with round number 5. We have 2 rounds left. You don't want to miss out, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be here. You'll be here. We'll be back soon after this break.